All right, we're on to the next build. What is it, Jerry? New Haven Depot. It's made by American Model Builders. I think they're still around. Don't know how much this kit cost, even if it's still available. It's a pretty intense kit. It is a laser cut wood kit. And instructions, we've been through these American models before. They're pretty good instructions. My only beef with them is the peel and stick trim. Not a real fan of that stuff. But for the most part, it's wood. So we're going to try something different here. This is not going to be my final color. This will be my final color. Okay? And what I'm going to do here with these is do some chipping. I'm going to... So how you go about chipping is you put down the color that you want to see through your main color. Okay? So I want this red to come through this blue. And my colors are a Vallejo. You know I'm a Vallejo guy. It's 7082 and amaranth red. And my blue is 7943, a gray blue. That's my blue. All right. These are my colors. And this is the chipping medium. So you put your color down, and then you, however you want to do, you're going to brush, spray, whatever, and then you're going to apply this. You can spray it, brush it, whatever. You're going to apply it and let it dry. Totally. Everything needs to dry. Your base color needs to dry totally. Your chipping fluid needs to dry totally. And your top coat is going to need to dry totally. And what you do, we'll see what happens when we get further in this build. One thing with these laser kits, okay, they're wood. It's a good idea, and they tell you in the instructions to coat both sides, paint both sides. I saw somebody do, instead of paint, so they don't warp, because it's really thin product. It's like a 16th, and you paint one side and it warps. So you got to paint both sides. And even then, it warps, so it's a good idea to weigh it down while the coat paint dries, and do the same thing when you flip it over, just to keep it flat. And then if it's big enough of a structure like this is, you should add some bracing, and that's what I did in here. It doesn't come in the kit. You need to fend for yourself on this. And I just have an assortment of balsa wood that I use for bracing. And that's this part of the build. We'll bring you back, and we'll go through a lot of this build because there's a lot to it. Stay tuned. Something I want to point out: when you're starting the kit, what I did was, because this stuff is very fragile, it pops out really easy. You can lose it and lose track. So what I did was, here is like the parts list, and it has, you have the sprue that all the parts are on, and they're labeled. And what I did was, I went and I labeled each part so that once it came out of its carrier, because they don't mark the carriers, they don't mark this. once it came out of the carrier, I knew what it was. Because you see there's a lot of parts here, especially here, and forget here. Yeah, there's tons of parts here. You take them out and, you know, you can figure it out, but it'll be a pain. So that's one tip that I would say. I don't know if a lot of other kits do the same, have a master parts list that's numbered, but if it does and they don't number the parts individually, do that. Write down all the parts so that you have them for later. That's a nice little tip that I did and figured out that I should do. Gotta say, this is what I got so far with my kit. This is the New Haven Depot laser kit. This company is no longer in business, but they have this trim that goes on the edges. See it here, right? It will go here, like this side. Same thing, doors, windows, everything is this stick-on windows. I'm going to use the doors. I think I'm going to try to find titchy windows to do the windows. Not really a fan of this. Definitely not a fan of this. Cutting out all this trim. That's crazy. It's so thin. It moves around on you when you put it up. Can't really glue it. But I guess, you know, once you got it on, you're not fiddling with this kit all the time. You know, once you build it, put it on your layout, put it on your diorama, you're not moving it around and you're not playing with it. But you can see that the peely part sometimes wants to lift when you go to peel it off. You gotta be careful. I'm just putting my finger there so it focuses. But sometimes when you peel this white part off, the actual sticky part comes off too. So you gotta be careful. Look at this thing. It's so tiny. And then you just place it in the corresponding spot. Let me zoom out. And on this kit, what you have to worry about, I'm trying to do this. Hold on. There we go. So I'm trying to do it because see these little holes? They have to line up for the brackets that go under the roof. Kind of like old style buildings. But you see, like, it moves around. So these holes you have to leave open for these brackets that they have. But anyway, what are you going to do? It's all coming together. So my thoughts on these kits, they're really nice kits. If it wasn't for these are such a pain to put on. Sometimes they don't stay. But I like the detail of it. The siding detail is really, it looks scale. You know, it's not overly big. It just has a nice look to it, right? some of the parts are really fragile. The loading dock, very fragile. It's easy to break, and it's just because of the way, this material for the load. This is the material for the loading dock. Very thin, right? And how they score it, right? See how they score it? It breaks really easy. Like, I've had part of the angle break, and I had to brace it from the back. So, but yeah, it's coming along. Still got a good bit to do. A lot of trim. A lot of I don't know what, like this stuff. But we'll get it going.